guys, I'm Alex and welcome to today's vlog. So I'm going to be loading my kiln this morning and I'm going to walk you through the process. So let's go. Alright, so here is my kiln. I named her Old Faithful. I am a Yellowstone fanatic, so it's one of my favorite national parks. And here's the inside. So before I fire, I like to double check all my pieces and give them an extra little wipe down if they need it before I put them into the kiln. I want to make sure that there is not random little spots of glaze or just little markings that I'm not wanting. So I double check everything, and then once I do that, I set it in the kiln. Alright, so you can see my 4 posts. I use those to place the shelves on top of. So I'm gonna go grab the shelves and we'll put them in. My next posts, what I do is I place them on the center line and then I place these on the sides. So I always do the posts first, so that way I know exactly where the space is that I need to leave, and I build the pottery in around that. Alright, so I use pyrometric cones. So this is the cone that I use for a cone 6 firing, which is the glaze firing I'll be running today. I place it in the kiln near the thermocouple, and it is 2 inches out and 2 inches over-ish. So I'll show you where I place it. Alright, so here is my thermocouple. It's on the same side as where the screen is. And I'm gonna place this about here-ish. And that is per the instructions on the manual that I follow. We're gonna program it. I have the KMT touchscreen controller for my kiln. So what I do for a glaze firing is I do begin here, program, and I just do a guided start. I do ceramics, I do glaze firing next, and I do cone 6 high fire next, and then I do medium speed for the firing, and then I hit next, and that's all. So I review my firing log. So what it's going to do no preheat, it's going to cone 6 at a medium speed, it's not going to hold at the top, there will be no delay, it will be done in about 8.5 hours. So we'll hit start. So now that the kiln is started, you can hear that clicking on and off, and that means that the elements and the heat is being pushed and it's rotating through those heat cycles and starting to build the temperature. Or at least that's what I think it means. When I start any firing, I leave my kiln cracked at the top using this little clip system, and when I'm ready to lock the kiln, I drop it and lock it. I also start by leaving all of the spies out, and as the temperature begins to climb, I add the spies in. So my kiln is located in the garage. So during the firing process, I leave the garage cracked at least yay high, and that allows circulation in the room and for the kiln to be able to vent. I don't have a proper kiln vent installed in my garage. A lot of people do. And most places, if you're inside, you will always have a kiln vent to provide ventilation for the gases and things that your kiln is releasing during the firing. So another thing I wanted to talk about is the Kiln Link app, which connects to the Skutt KMT touchscreen controller. This is not sponsored in any way. I just really love my kiln and I wanted to share it with you guys. I also know when I was researching kilns, I watched a lot of YouTube videos and I find this kind of stuff helpful. So the Kiln Link app looks like this. And I'll do a screen recording and like add it on the side. So when your kiln is firing, you can check the firing temperature and the schedule and the process, even if you're not at home. So it connects through the Wi-Fi and it sends that information to your app on your phone, and it gives you kind of peace of mind over what's happening. And honestly, I can't even imagine not having it, which I know is like, I'm a little spoiled by the app just because I can leave the house and know that my kiln is running and it's going well. You can also name your kiln, which I put in Old Faithful, and if you have multiple kilns, you can check and see the different firing schedules and what's going on with all of that. So currently my kiln is at 79 degrees and the set point is at 102 degrees, which means that it's supposed to be at about 102 degrees at this point. My kiln usually kind of starts out below that target temperature and it builds, and as it builds, it gets closer to that temperature. It usually is either spot on or 1 or 2 degrees lower than that temperature. So I just check in throughout the day and see how it's doing and go from there. Another thing that I wanted to mention is having those cones inside the kiln is really helpful. So that helps you know that your kiln reached the proper temperature. So in case any of this information failed for whatever reason, that cone would be able to tell me, all right, your temperature reached its target range by the bend in the cone. So the temperature is climbing. So here's what we're gonna do. All right, so I'm going to take the kiln, drop it by just one little notch, and then I'll take my first spy and I'll plug the last hole on my kiln. Okay, so this may not be how you learn to fire a kiln or you have seen or you do it. I just wanted to share my process and show you guys what I do. So as the temperature begins to climb, I start to plug in the spies. I fill them all the way up and then I leave the top one open throughout the entire firing process, so that way that the kiln can vent out some of the gases and the heat and all that good stuff. The kiln is about almost 600 degrees now. I forgot to document at what stages I put the spies in. Before it hits about 400 or 350-ish, all the spies were already in. So as it's building to 350 to 400, I put in those spies. Good morning. So I just checked on the kiln. It ran the full 8.5 hours. It has been cooling all night. It's about 10 a.m. now. So when it hit about 250 degrees, I cracked the kiln to the lowest setting that it can be cracked at. And when I came back and checked on it, I just bumped it up to the next highest setting. So what I'll begin to do throughout the day is I will start pulling spies out. So these are the spies, and I'll do a little tap test on them to see, all right, can I hold my hand on it? If I can hold my hand on it, I'll pull the spy out and then begin to pull them all out throughout the day. So the kiln has reached about 110 degrees, so let's open it up. Alright you guys, so it's actually the next day. I decided to go ahead and bring down all of the pottery from the kiln. So let me show you what we got. After I fire, I go ahead and I bring everything down from the kiln and unload it all onto my dining room table. I do this because my studio is so small and it's just helpful to be able to have a space for everything to go, for me to sort it, organize it, and then that way I can easily measure how many ounces each mug holds and prep for the shop. So one of my absolute favorites from this round this was the In Bloom that I talked about in my last video. Oh, that little cone flower makes my heart happy. I am really happy with the peony mugs. I do wish I had tried another color variety. I did them all pretty much in a peach color. I absolutely love the dogwood mug. Got some zinnias, sunflowers. So this go round, I've been trying to work on making all of my designs wraparound designs, so it's all the way around the mug, not on just one side. So whichever way you hold it, you can see the design. So this variation of the sunflower, and then I also tried another one where it's like a giant sunflower. I think I actually prefer this one. I also always try to do some tests and play around with different glaze combos. Let's see, focus, there we go. So yeah, I do different tests and play around with combos. I am so tempted to keep this one for myself. I absolutely love it. I'll have to think of a name for the combo. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to show you guys was some of the Glaze test tiles and how they turned out. I know I had mentioned that I was going to share that with you guys in this video. So remember the blob, this like random thing I threw? These are some of the glazes that I tried on this. And then I'll show you just a few of my favorites up close. Okay, so that is just a few of my favorites. I'll show like a pan of all of them all at once too. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with all of the colors. I'm excited to be able to incorporate them more into my pieces. So I can't wait to try some more. Okay, so just to recap everything, I have a Skutt KMT1027. It has those 3-inch bricks on the inside of the kiln, which gives it extra insulation. I do not have a kiln vent. It's in my garage, so I always leave that top spy out, and then I crack the garage or run a fan if I need to. I absolutely love it. I got it from Clay King Ceramics. That's where I get most of my supplies. I get glazes, tools, anything like that. Or I also go to Davin's, which is located in Atlanta. So if you're in the area, you'll have to check that out. If you guys have any questions about my kiln, drop them below, but I think that's all I've got for today. What I'm gonna do next is, since I have a shop update coming up, I'm gonna measure all of these and get everything prepped, which will actually probably be my next video. So make sure that you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. Bye.